Welcome to the Raven Knoll Show. I'm your host, Raven C. Knoll. I'm a wife, mother, counselor, mindset coach, and speaker, helping you win from within. Thank you. I'm excited to have you on the show today and to interview you because you are always just a ball of just fire and joy all together. Like your personality is just that combination. It kind of explodes.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm just glad to be able to be here. You know, it's not too often where you may have interviews or talk with people that are so rich and have so much depth when it comes to like life and business and love and spirituality. And so I just knew, I said, my girl Raven, I said, we're going to have a great conversation, great time. So I'm looking forward to today.
Thank you. I'm excited too. So let the people know, who is Latia? Give us a little bit of an insight on you.
Yes. So I am Latia Vaughan, also known as the Dream Pusher. Okay. I am a futurist. I am an illuminator. I help businesses and people find their sticky. I have been fortunate to be a best-selling author, Rediscover You. Check it out. Rediscover the letter U, Dare to Evolve. And I'm also focusing my time and attention not only coaching and cultivating individuals, but also preparing people for the stage. So I'm very excited that we're working on coming to the stage to bring authors, influencers, innovators, thought leaders, inventors to a main stage and to invite major corporations, media outlets, and everybody from everywhere to give them the same doors and opportunities that I did not have, that I had to bust through as being a young Black woman coming out of HBCU, getting into corporate, and to provide them that platform. So I'm super excited about what we're working on. So
That's awesome. So let us know, how was that journey for you? Because I know you've shown up in different capacities. You've had speaking engagements here and speaking engagements there and just different sectors of influence. And then coming from corporate America, how did you know that this is what you wanted to do?
So in transitioning from corporate America and to have my own business, it was a huge faith leap and a faith move, because when we're in corporate, we have that comfortability of security, right? But it got to a point in my corporate career, even though I loved it, I love the roles that I played, I love the impact I was able to make. But sometimes there is a cap on innovation. Sometimes there is a cap on having to go through so much red tape in order to bring something to pass that as a whole will be super, super beneficial in the growth and the personal development and the professional development of their employees, which are, by the way, their greatest assets, right? Okay, for any corporations that are listening. So once I knew that sometimes you hit that ceiling with innovation, I started to say, how can I serve in a greater way? Right? Other than just this one corporation, and being able to reach more masses to allow people the opportunity to grow and to develop and to connect and to really show up as their best selves. Because let's just be honest, if you're not happy in your personal life, if you don't have, the biggest issue that I find sometimes is having success without fulfillment. And we see it so much on social media. I have success. I got this trophy. I got this. I got this. I got the yachts. I got this. But there's really no fulfillment. But if you can merge the two, and I can be successful in whatever path that is, whether it is corporate or entrepreneur or I'm in ministry, but also have a fulfillment, which means I'm putting more of who I am into what I do, then there's a greater level of feeling and sensing and knowing that I'm living my best life, that kind of thing. So that was the reason why I caused myself to, it was time for me to kind of switch roles to serve in a greater way.
Yeah. So for you, making that leap or taking that step forward in doing your own business or kind of putting yourself out there or marketing yourself, what are some things internally that you kind of came up against to be able to be confident enough to say, here's what I offer, or, hey, I'm pitching this company or whatnot to bring me in?
So the things, just to make sure I'm clear, so the things that I had to do and or overcome to make sure I can show up in a space to say confidently and say, this is who I am and this is what I do.
Yep.
I first had to show proof of concept, right? There's a lot of people out here, and let me put this caveat out. if anybody's listening and may feel discouraged, there could
Yeah.
be a million coaches, there could be 1,000 people doing the same thing, but God has put something so uniquely special inside of how you give it,
Yeah.
how you live it, and that's just je ne sais quoi, right? And we just got to find that so that we can communicate that. So I
Yeah.
first had to show proof of concept, and proof of concept meaning results. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I had to be able to market and brand those results to where it translated here. And why do I say that? Because what I oftentimes see in these spaces is that there are a lot of coaches or people that want to be more front facing, like you say,
Yeah.
and they have results, but they do not know how to communicate them in a way that translates and then can convert
Mhm.
people who are listeners to now become buyers or to now become, a part of your community. So
Yeah.
first results, if you want to get into any corporate space to where you're training or teaching, even some of the things I do now, you need to show results. It has to be
Mhm.
bigger than just being inspired, but have I been able to measure and drive results in a person's life or in a business's life? And then from there, being able to posture it in a way, package it in a way to
Mhm.
where it is sticky to
Mhm.
the people that hear, to the people that see, to the people that comes across your page, right?
Mhm.
Your business card,
Yeah.
for them to be able to say, you know what, I like her, I like Raven, I need to go ahead and sign up for her course.
Mhm. Mhm. So for
Mhm.
you specifically, were there any things internally that you've ever had to kind of process through or maneuver through when it came to standing firm and confident in who you are today and how people see you?
Um, I would say the biggest thing I had to overcome is imposter syndrome.
Mm.
And I think so many people, I don't care how much money you have, in some shape, way, or form, they will wrestle with a form of imposter syndrome.
Mm.
So I personally wrestled with that. If I had to go a little deeper, one of the things I wrestled with when I first started was the fear of rejection.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I had to come into a realization and a knowing that it is okay that, how can I say this in a way that's very PC? You have to be able to be so sure. That's how I want to say it. You have to be so sure in your identity
Mhm.
and what you serve the world with and what you offer up, that
Mhm.
regardless if somebody wants to partake in your plate, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter, because there are thousands of other people that wants to feast with you, that wants to sit with you, that wants to buy with you. But I think at the root of it, it is rooted in identity and knowing who I am. Because if I
Yeah.
don't know who I am, every little thing in advertisement and person here will lead me everywhere. And then when I'm serving up a plate that is not mine, come on, that is
Mhm.
not recognizable to how God identified me to
Yeah.
be,
Mhm.
then I would just be recycling that form of rejection
Yeah.
and rejection. And then now I'm self-afflicting myself. That is synonymous with that word. So now I'm beating myself up for
Yeah.
taking so long. And I'm beating myself up for why I did that. So I think that the way I was able to overcome rejection and that imposter syndrome
Yeah.
is make sure I'm rooted in who I am. And that is my
Mhm.
identity.
Mhm. I love that. I think it's so important for women to put more emphasis on building their identity because I feel like there's a lot of false things that we see online that we
Yeah.
feel like is in our grip or we aspire to, but those things are really surface compared to what's sustaining you to be able to continue this journey because I know you said too, you felt like you had to really knock down doors for yourself. You didn't
Yes.
necessarily have that person opening the doors for you. So I'm sure there's listeners who feel like, why is it so hard for me and it's so easy for others? Have you ever
Right.
had to experience that?
Yes.
Okay.
It always appeared that with certain people, it was easier for them. People that may have been born with a silver spoon in their mouth, people that may have just been born with certain types of connections.
Mhm.
I have one girlfriend who her father was a lawyer, and one of his top clients was Coretta Scott King, and all of these major people. So she was born into that legacy, born into that.
Yeah.
Um, but let me tell you something that I realized was wrong thinking. Okay.
Mhm.
Life can either be for you or against you.
Mhm.
And one of the biggest decisions that you can ever ask yourself in any scenario is, do I live in a friendly world or a hostile world?
Mm,
Because
mhm.
it will shape your perspective. And if I feel that everybody else has always had it easier for me, then
Mhm.
subconsciously that 95%, that 80%, I know the stats changed, I will continuously create scenarios
Yeah.
in this atmosphere in real time that will identify and point to, yeah, you're right. See, this is what I told you. I told you that
Mhm.
it's easy for everybody else. So
Yeah.
once I literally changed, so it wasn't them, it was me.
Yeah.
And once I changed, no, I live in a hostile world. I used to get in the mirror. I say, oh, I got a microphone. Oh, people love Tia. Oh my gosh, they need. Let me tell you something. They need what Tia has. Oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
think I used to declare I'm always in the right place at the right time, doing the right things for the right
Mhm.
people. I'm always in the right place at the right time, saying the right things to the right people that will get me to the right place. And do you know the
Yeah.
very day that I started to declare that, she's now my mentor now, but
Mm.
I was in San Diego. I just had my son 5 weeks prior from major surgery. And I started to declare that, and I was walking through the hallway because I was dealing with imposter syndrome. My
Mm.
husband and I was in a very tough financial situation. I scraped coins just to even get here because I had a conversation with her and she says, you're going to be here, right? And I'm like, I got to be there. I got to show up.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
scraped to get there, to get my hotel room. And when you get to a certain place, when you may be around people that
Mhm.
are, I mean, they were just dropping like 30 grand for these programs. They was just dropping 25 grand. And I started feeling less than because
Mhm.
of where I was in the moment. And I remember walking down that hall and I started to declare this. And I declared it. I got in the elevator and I got down in the elevator. Do you know the very day I started declaring I am always in the right place at the right time, saying the right things for the right people that can get me to the next right place? Do you know
Mhm.
her business financial partner out of thousands of people that was inside of this conference
Wow.
before recess walked down and was walking through the crowds
Yeah.
and me out and says, who are you and what do you do? I am Latia Vaughan. I've been practicing this. But the point it
Yeah.
was never them. It was
Yeah, that's
what
powerful.
do I feel worthy enough to receive?
Yeah.
You are always, whoever's listening, in the right place at the
Mhm.
right time. And then
Mhm.
your living experiences will begin to confirm that. Your reticular
Yeah.
activating system will begin to agree with that. And
Yeah.
so it'll continue to bring more situations, scenarios, and people that will reaffirm that belief that you receive.
Mhm. Mhm. So just from that, it just really speaks to not only the power of your words, but how the power of your words begin to shift your mindset and how important it is to speak where you're going. You know what I mean? And what you desire and what you see and what you dream and how those words putting that stuff out in the atmosphere and just over and over and over again, that cultivates a belief as well. You know what I mean? And then that belief overcomes and trumps some of that stuff that you're thinking, like imposter syndrome.
This is what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
belief is the superpower. Okay.
Mhm.
If we look at results, if we look at statistics, I'm a research girl. I'm a
Yeah.
statistics girl. When they say 30% of all medical miracles was not because of the medicine itself, it was the belief in the healing,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
belief in the healing. It
Yeah.
was the belief. So a lot of us, if we're honest, don't have a faith issue in God. We have a belief issue in
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Not that I
Yeah.
don't, I love God. God, a lot of these people that faith-based communities, they believe God can do it. They
Yeah.
believe in God, but that's not the issue. The issue is self-belief
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we limit our God nature to create and to build when we
Mhm.
don't believe in ourselves. And I really believe the faith community has created such a dichotomy and a spiritual schizophrenia in believers
Yeah.
because we read this stuff, we're saying, God, I'm nothing, I'm nothing, I'm nothing, I'm blah, 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 blah. And
Yeah.
and because of that, we cannot build or create in the natural what
Mm.
God has given us in the spiritual to manifest on earth. It's a
Mhm.
belief issue. So you hit it right on the head. And the
Yeah.
belief is stirred based on your feeling. So it's not enough for
Yeah.
us to just say declarations. You say it until something sparks, until
Mhm.
something starts to create a joy and until an anticipation.
Yeah.
And that is what we're missing. And then you take that you hold on to that and then incorporate things in your life to make that belief grow even more.
Yeah, yeah, that's powerful.
Belief.
Absolutely. So how does someone who has never stepped into that understanding or that mindset of belief, you know what I mean? They've always thought of themselves as, "Oh, I'm
Mhm.
just humble, lowly me. I'm just trying to do what the Lord told me to do," and, you know, all that good stuff.
Singing
Yet
them Negro spirituals. Mhm.
but it's
Mhm.
almost
Yeah,
like there's a fight because you have this lowly, humble me, and then you have this person who's like, "But there's something in me that says there's more."
that's it.
You know what I mean? How do you
Mhm.
go from here to there though?
If I had to say realistically, for some people, it will be an instance.
Mhm.
Okay. Sometimes people say it took me 20 years to change,
Yeah.
and it doesn't. It took you 20 years to finally make the decision to change. Some
Mhm.
people, it happens in an instant and in a moment. And sometimes that instant and a moment is sometimes, if I'm honest, it's caused by a major event, catastrophic event. It
Yeah.
is something that shakes your nervous system.
Yeah.
Hear me.
Mhm.
Okay. And there's different ways that happens that your nervous system is shaken. But
Mhm.
if you can find a way from without tragedy or trauma that you can reshake your nervous system, that you can shift your physiology for you to start
Yeah.
to come to a belief, then you can get further and further to that scale of believing in myself and being able to create. So if I just say, what are some daily habits or something that
Mhm.
I can do to start to put more things into my belief meter, belief pot, I
Mhm.
would say, watch your mouth.
That's a good one.
Watch that stinking mouth. Okay. Um, because we don't realize how we come across and what we create based on, we say death and life and the power is done. We know that.
Yeah.
But I don't think we don't know to the category
Mhm.
of how important that statement is. Okay. For example, when you say, I don't want,
Mhm.
I don't want this, I don't want that, or to your husband, or I don't want this in husband, I don't want this in a man, or I don't want this
Yeah.
in a job, I don't want this in my bank account. Okay. Your brain is calculating the actual item.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hear me. Okay. So even though he says, I don't want this, 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 but
Mhm.
your brain is calculating this.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
understand what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
So when my husband and I, to put it in plain English, I stopped saying things like, can you stop leaving the toilet seat up? Can you stop doing this? Can you stop doing that? Instead, I would affirm the things that I do want so that don't could stop coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
I'm so glad you put this toilet seat down. Thank you for thinking of me, or thank you for, locking the screen door. I would just say things that I do want. So my brain is receiving the wants, the
Yeah.
wants, the
Yeah.
wants,
Yeah.
the wants,
Yeah.
the wants.
I get
So
that.
watch your mouth. And then other than that, I would say being so self-aware about where you are in your life and how much space you give negativity to in your life,
Yeah.
whether it's from people or wrong connections or relationships, expired friendships.
Mhm.
That will get you more closer and closer to the belief meter. If you have people around you that are cheering you on, that don't think your dream is too big,
Mhm.
that's not saying, girl, you're doing too much, but they were
Mhm.
saying, girl, that's it. What else you got?
Yeah.
What else? So because that's gonna, again, that community is super, super important, as well in fostering that success.
Yeah. So you've been able to, as people are listening to you and even watching you, they're probably like, wow, she's been able to learn so much over the years of how to grow her belief or how to step into certain aspects of who she is. But as far as your own journey, how hard was it for you to actually learn these lessons to be able to show up today and be like, okay, this is what we have to do, X, Y, and Z. But how hard was it for you to go through these things to be able to learn these life lessons?
Yeah. I would say it was more tedious
Hmm.
because I did not realize how often that I was speaking in a opposite way of what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I had to keep catching myself. So it wasn't the fact that in our conversation, of course, I can speak want. But
Yeah.
when I'm talking to the kids, I'm not saying no all the time, don't touch that. But I am saying, here, this is what you can touch, or this is what you can do. So it's more tedious being super self aware of catching myself
Yeah.
and learning the art of recovering faster.
Mm, love that.
You get what I'm saying? The faster I
Yeah.
can recover from some of the things, because it doesn't mean we'll be perfect. There'll be times when we catch ourselves. And then
Mhm.
also my husband and I, we says, okay, what do you want? Don't say what you don't. What do you want? The faster I'm able to recover, the faster I'm able to get myself back on track.
Yeah.
So I would say not necessarily hard, but I would say very, very tedious
Mhm.
until you get into that routine of speaking a different way.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So as you've kind of journeyed through all of this, how do you feel like it's been beneficial to you as a female leader and a woman of influence and someone who coaches women? What are the benefits of the life lessons and different things that you have to go through? How does that benefit you in what you do professionally?
Um, how has it been beneficial? I would say the best way it's been beneficial is me being in a point of my career and life to where I can open up doors for others.
Mm,
That is now the greatest benefit,
yeah.
because that is legacy.
Mhm.
And so being able to create doors and opportunities to connect people that can get speaking opportunities, whatever, that has been such a higher fulfillment for me
Yeah.
in the season, that my level of success, whatever you want to call it, has allowed me the ability and the influence to help open up doors for others,
Mhm.
if
Mhm.
I'm honest,
Yeah.
and my children, and teaching my children. I'm a mother of five.
Yeah.
And so when I'm talking to my babies, even when I'm talking to my girls, I have three daughters, beautiful daughters, and to
Mhm.
show them that I don't care what you do, I don't care what lifestyle you're born to, it does not matter, that
Yeah.
you are powerful. It is not about how you start, but it is about how you end. It is about what you do,
Mhm.
showing them, yeah. And then here we go. And then sometimes letting them see my failures and my mess ups, like me crying. I'll never forget
Yeah.
trying to record a video. This is when I first started, right? This is baby dream pusher. And Sky was about 2, 3. And I was frustrated because I was trying to record and I had to take care of her. And so I watched her, and I was letting her watch me while I was like in front of the camera recording. I'm super excited, and things just weren't working out or coming out. And I got frustrated and tears started coming to my eyes.
Yeah.
And my husband walked into the house. I said, "Can you take Sky, because I'm just frustrated and I need to figure this out." And then something inside of me said, "No, she needs to watch you learn how to
Mm.
recover,
Mm.
not just showing your children the
Yeah.
pivotal success moments, but they
Right.
need to learn how to recover." So I sat her in this room, back in the room, and I cried.
Mhm.
And she's like, "Mommy, are you crying?" I said, "Mommy's okay."
Yeah.
She's like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Mommy's okay. Mommy's just trying to figure this out. Mommy's just trying to figure this out." And so she sat, and I said, "Could you just be quiet for just a few minutes while mommy tried to figure this out?" She says, "Okay." And so she watched me. She literally sat on the
Wow.
bed. At that time, we were in this tiny apartment in Atlanta. I didn't have an office space. I was just in our bedroom in this little tiny corner in front of a window. And she sat on the bed just watching me. And I
Mhm.
kept trying, and I would just stop. And I would do it again, I would stop. And eventually I got myself into the routine where I was in this flow and I recovered. And I not only recovered afterwards, I asked her, I said, "You want to do a video with mommy?" And she said, "Yes, I
Mm.
want to do a video with mommy." I put her on my lap. We did this video that went through the roof of me and
Oh, wow.
her encouraging people. So I had to teach my children how to recover. So he says, what is the greatest things in overcoming and becoming this? Is teaching my children and being able to open up the doors for others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. This is awesome. So that brings me to my last question I ask everyone on the podcast.
Come on.
And it is, what is the cost of relevancy and influence?
I'd like to buy a vowel, please. Okay. I say that because that question, brilliant question, can go so many different ways. And that's probably why you asked it, knowing you, Raven. Um, what is the cost of relevancy and influence?
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, what will it cost you?
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's the question everybody has to pause on.
Okay, so I'm visual, so I'm going to write just a few words down. Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Mhm.
You don't judge me. Okay. You can play some gaming music. Um,
Dun-dun. I love
mm,
this question, I really do. You can even think about what has it costed you, you know?
Mm. And I don't know why I keep thinking of this for this question right now. Maybe it's for somebody that's going to hear it.
Mhm.
Mm. So I'm trying to find the word, but the cost of relevancy and influence.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's another word. So tell me, Raven, if there is another adjective that I think the word just came to my head. What is the word when when you're venturing off alone? What is the word? What is the word?
Like solo?
Yeah, it is bigger than that. It's like when you are daring greatly, you have to know that there's
Audacity? Like,
audacity, right?
have
That
some
okay, we're getting closer. So
bravery, courage.
it's the coupled with knowing that judgment will come. What
Mm,
is the I can't find that word right now,
mhm.
but let me give you an explanation,
Yeah.
okay? When you are daring greatly, when you are venturing off to do something that's never been done before,
Mhm.
whether it is being relevant or having a level of influence, you do have to have audacity. You have to be audacious. And
Mhm.
why do I say that? It is because there will always be a level of skepticism and judgment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I self sabotage myself for so long because of fear of success.
Mhm.
I'm a very private person. I talk about
Yeah.
this all the time. People looking at you or your kids, or they'll try. I just
Yeah.
see how this generation is like this cancel culture.
Yeah.
Say the slightest thing wrong, you say butt cheeks versus cheek butts, and then it's the whole windstorm, and people
Mhm.
make statements. And so that has, I don't know who this is for, created this effect in people that makes them hide back in their shells like a turtle,
Yeah.
have something magnificent to offer the world. And
Yeah.
so, what is the cost of being judged? Is what I want to say when you are daring greatly and you are being an influencer. And to that, I would say it's going to cost everything.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
the people, the critics, the bystanders
Yeah.
that are trying to attack or comment,
Mhm.
you are not in the ring with me, getting beat up and bloody and offering
Yeah.
ways to help. If you are not in the ring with me, offering ways of support, or hey, maybe you could
Mhm.
do this better, constructive criticism. If you are not in the ring with me, you don't have a voice or a vote.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
As if
Mhm.
we are going to reach the world in greater capacities and in greater measure, you do have to have that audacity. I know thought leader is a word that is just kind of like word vomit right now. There's
Yeah.
certain buzzwords, but I want to say this is that if you are not leading people down a path of different thought,
Mhm.
what you're saying is always obvious,
Yeah.
right? Then you are not a thought leader. You are
Mhm.
not leading people to a different frame of thinking or perspective. You are
Mhm.
just a person that is voicing their opinion on what's already out there.
Yeah. Mhm.
So if you are to be relevant and you are to be an influencer, if you are to be a trendsetter, you have to be okay. You have to be okay with the yays and the nays.
Yeah. Mhm.
Continue on the path regardless.
Yeah.
As long
Yeah.
as you are still looking at what you're doing, you're always looking for ways to be better, measuring your efficiency, measuring
Mhm.
how I can have better customer support. If I'm always going back and to making sure I'm doing whatever I can physically do possible to allow what I've created to evolve, then
Mhm.
all the other voices don't matter. But the
Yeah.
only people that will be able to partake with me in the wins and in the feast when God
Mm.
prepares a table in front of everybody are
Yeah.
the ones who have been constructively criticizing, giving ways for support or opportunity for
Mhm.
those who are not in the ring with me, getting bloody and beat up, trying new things, trying
Mhm.
processes and different procedures. You do not have a voice or a vote. And there's so many
Yeah.
influencers, and it's just what I feel, Raven, and you can tap in.
Yeah.
There's so many people that we see it, that may be introverts and they have something magnificent to offer the world, but they are
Mhm.
so afraid of what
Yeah.
people will say, or will it be
Mhm.
received, or will rejection come into play?
Yeah.
But you have to be steadfast. You
Absolutely.
have to be audacious,
Mhm.
regardless of who's to come. So that's the long way around it. I don't know if I answered your question, Raven,
Yeah,
if I'm honest.
yeah. You absolutely did, because I think it's so true, because even myself, as more of an introverted person, it's been like a fight to be able to actually come out of my shell and say, "Hey, see me," but
Yeah.
then feel confident enough and not always think, "Oh, what are they gonna say? What are they gonna think? What are they gonna, are they gonna like it? Are they gonna enjoy it? Blah, 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 blah," all the things that are in your head, and being able to step out and say, "You know what? This is what God has called me to do. This is what I'm
Yeah.
going to do." And regardless of if you like it or don't like it, I have to be okay, like what you said, with the yays and the nays. And that's
Yes.
what I absolutely love about that answer, because people are going to support you, and then some people are going to fight against what you're doing. And either way it goes, you have to be confident enough to stand and say, "This is who I am. This is what I
Yeah.
offer, and this is what I'm called to do."
Yes. And
Yeah.
let me tell you this. I'm about to tag me in. Tag me in.
Go ahead.
And then what you'll find, once you get over that belief that people are really for me, not
Yeah.
against me, you'll see that there's way more yays than nays. Like this
Mhm.
whole trail mix, right? All of these are yays. And then you may get a little peanut, this little
Right.
peanut that got something to say. Child, we not thinking about you. Okay?
Right.
And one thing that I really want our culture to
Yeah.
do is to stop giving so much energy and attention to my haters. You'll see that my haters this and my haters this.
Mhm,
Again,
mhm.
what you focus on expands, right? The
Yeah,
reticular activating system, it will literally say, okay, haters, 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 okay,
yeah,
boop,
yeah.
boop, boop, haters, haters. And
Right.
somebody asked me this in one of my classes when they said they were speaking, and they said that there was somebody that seemed like they weren't interested, and they was just kind of had a negative attitude every time they said something on the mic. They kind of huffed and hemmed and hawed. And they said, well, what do you do in those kind of situations? I told them, we don't speak to the darkness. I
Mm.
don't even acknowledge that you're there.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
only speak to the light,
Mhm.
and I keep being more light until the room gets so bright that the
Yeah.
darkness, you got to flee, or you got to go, or you're going to conform and shut up. Okay. You're
Mhm.
just going to, okay, sit there quietly. We don't speak to the dark.
Yeah,
I just am the light.
yeah,
And I want to make sure, and just like what you're doing in your platforms, that we're creating so many more opportunities for light as
yeah.
possible, whether
Mhm.
it's through community, connection, or knowledge or information. Just keep being the light. Don't focus on the dark.
Yeah, yeah,
Focus on them.
yeah.
So there's way more yays, baby. Okay. Okay. All these yays, they're for you. They want to buy your products. They want to root for you. They're cheering you on. And you got to put that in your mind that there's so many more people that are for me.
Absolutely,
And so I
absolutely.
think it's just back to that belief.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. And I think that's a lovely place to wrap it up. Be the light.
be the
Be
light.
the light. Thank you, Latia.
Yes. This is so good.
This has been the Raven Knoll Show. Thanks for listening. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to this podcast so you're the first to know when new episodes are released. And don't forget to leave a review. If you can't wait until the next show, follow along on Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter at Raven C. Knoll for more tips and to keep the conversation going. Go ahead and DM me on Instagram or take a screenshot of this podcast and share it to your IG stories. I want to know about your takeaways from the show. Don't forget to tag me and use the hashtag RCNPodSquad. Lastly, visit my website at ravencnoll.com and join my email list to get exclusive bonuses only for my email subscribers. Thanks again for rocking and rolling with me. I'll talk to you soon.